A looming crisis, the next president's fiscal tightrope walk. Buckle up, America, because the next president is inheriting a fiscal mess of epic proportions. Imagine a teetering tower of credit card debt, except instead of late fees, it's the future of our country at stake. Yeah, it's that bad. This isn't about left versus right, it's about basic math. We're spending way more than we're taking in, and that's not sustainable, no matter how much we might wish it were. The next president will need more than just a balanced budget, they'll need a fiscal defibrillator to shock our economy back to life. The tax cut mirage, why slashing and burning won't balance the books. Look, we all love a good tax cut. It's like a surprise gift, an unexpected windfall that makes us feel richer, even if just for a moment. It's like finding a 20 in your old jeans, pure joy. That sudden rush of excitement, the feeling that you've just gotten a little bit luckier. But here's the catch. You can't fix a leaky roof by just hoping for more rain. You need to invest in repairs, buy the materials, and put in the work. Tax cuts, in theory, can stimulate the economy, leading to more revenue down the line. The idea is that with more money in their pockets, people will spend more, businesses will invest more, and the economy will grow. But that's only if everything goes perfectly. And this is the United States government we're talking about. Things rarely go perfectly. There are always unforeseen challenges, political gridlocks, and economic downturns that can derail even the best-laid plans. The truth is, tax cuts often leave a gaping hole in the budget, a hole that needs to be filled somehow, and guess who gets stuck with the bill? That's right, future generations. The debt piles up and the burden falls on those who come after us. And let's be honest, they've already got enough to deal with. Student loans, housing costs, job market uncertainties, the list goes on. Adding a massive national debt to their plate is not just unfair, it's irresponsible. So while tax cuts might seem like a quick fix, a way to win votes or boost short-term economic numbers, they are not a sustainable solution. We need to think long-term, plan for the future, and make decisions that will benefit not just us, but the generations to come. Investing in infrastructure, education, and renewable energy, these are the kinds of initiatives that can create lasting economic growth and stability. They require upfront costs, yes, but the returns are far greater and more sustainable. It's time to move beyond the allure of quick fixes and start thinking about the bigger picture. Our future and the future of our children depends on it. Waste not, want not missed opportunities for trimming the fat. Now before we start talking about raising taxes, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room: government waste. It's the political equivalent of finding a receipt for a $12 gallon of milk. It's infuriating. And it's not just a few pennies here and there. We're talking billions, potentially trillions of dollars wasted on inefficient programs, outdated systems, and good old-fashioned bureaucratic bloat. The next president needs to channel their inner Marie Kondo and ruthlessly declutter the federal government, because let's be honest, if you can't find a few $1 billion in savings, you're not even trying. The Social Security time bomb ticking, louder by the day. It's a crisis that's been brewing for decades, and now it's reaching a critical point. Let's talk about the big one: Social Security. This isn't just a line item on a budget, it's the lifeline for millions of Americans who have worked hard all their lives. It's the retirement plan for millions of Americans, a safety net that's been stretched thinner than a yoga instructor on a juice cleanse. The problem, it's not just about the money, it's about the people who depend on it. People are living longer, which is great, but it also means Social Security is paying out benefits for longer. This longevity is a double-edged sword. While it's wonderful that medical advancements allow us to enjoy more years with our loved ones, it also means the system is under unprecedented strain. Add to that a shrinking workforce, and you've got a recipe for fiscal disaster. Fewer workers are contributing to the system while more retirees are drawing from it. This imbalance is unsustainable. Ignoring this problem is like ignoring a ticking time bomb. Eventually, it's going to blow up in our faces. The longer we wait, the louder the ticking gets, and the more difficult it becomes to defuse the situation. The next president needs to approach this issue with the sensitivity of a bomb disposal expert and the urgency of a firefighter in a burning building. This isn't just about policy, it's about people's lives and futures. We need a leader who understands the gravity of the situation and is willing to take bold, decisive action to ensure that Social Security remains viable for generations to come. It's time for a national conversation, one that includes everyone from young workers just starting their careers to retirees who rely on their monthly checks. We need to explore innovative solutions, whether it's adjusting the retirement age, increasing contributions, or finding new revenue streams. The future of Social Security depends on our willingness to act now. Together, we can ensure that this vital program continues to provide security and dignity for all Americans. The clock is ticking, but with the right leadership and collective effort, we can turn this time bomb into a beacon of hope for the future. Section 5. Drowning in Debt. The perils of our current fiscal trajectory. Here's a fun fact. The US government spends more on interest payments on its debt than it does on education or infrastructure. Let that sink in for a minute. We're basically throwing money at our creditors while our schools crumble and our bridges fall apart. That's like paying your credit card minimums while ignoring the giant hole in your roof. It's not sustainable, and it's frankly embarrassing. The longer we wait to address this, the deeper we dig ourselves into a hole that will eventually become impossible to climb out of. Section 6. Beyond slogans. The need for detailed policy in presidential campaigns. Remember those campaign promises? The ones about booming economies and endless prosperity? Yeah, those were cute. The truth is, fixing this mess requires more than just catchy slogans and vague promises. We need detailed policy proposals, the kind that make your eyes glaze over but your brain say, okay, maybe they've thought this through. We need to know how they plan to tackle the deficit, reform entitlement programs, and get our fiscal house in order, because if they can't explain it to us, how can we trust them to actually do it? Section 7. Leadership in the red. Why fiscal responsibility must be a top priority. Here's the deal, America, this isn't a Republican problem or a Democrat problem, this is an American problem, and it's a problem that requires leadership, the kind of leadership that's willing to make tough choices, even when they're unpopular. The next president needs to be a fiscal grown-up, someone who understands that you can't just keep spending money you don't have. They need to be willing to work across the aisle, to compromise, to put the long-term interests of the country ahead of short-term political gain. Because if they don't, we're all going down with the ship. History has shown us the consequences of fiscal irresponsibility. From the Great Depression to the 2008 financial crisis, the impact of poor financial decisions can be devastating. But it also shows us that recovery is possible with the right measures. Economists agree that a balanced budget and responsible spending are key to long-term stability. Fiscal responsibility isn't just a government issue, it's a household issue. Families across America understand the importance of living within their means. Small businesses, the backbone of our economy, thrive on prudent financial planning. They know that every dollar counts. Local governments too must balance their budgets to provide essential services without overburdening taxpayers. As citizens, we have a role to play. We must hold our leaders accountable and demand fiscal responsibility at every level of government. Together, we can ensure a prosperous future for generations to come. It's time to prioritize fiscal responsibility and make the tough choices today for a better tomorrow, because the strength of our nation depends on it. Section 8. A Tale of Two Visions, contrasting Trump's and Harris's fiscal approaches. Let's get specific, shall we? During his presidency, Donald Trump promised to eliminate the national debt in 8 years. His solution? Tax cuts, primarily for corporations and wealthy individuals. The result? The national debt actually increased significantly. Vice President Kamala Harris, on the other hand, has advocated for a more balanced approach, combining tax increases on the wealthy with spending cuts and investments in infrastructure and education. While the effectiveness of these contrasting approaches is debatable, one thing is clear. The next president will need to navigate this complex issue with a clear vision and a steady hand. Section 9. The Price of Inaction. The dire consequences of ignoring the debt crisis. Ignoring this problem won't make it go away. In fact, it'll just make it worse. Imagine higher interest rates, skyrocketing inflation, and a weaker economy. That's the future we're facing if we don't get our fiscal house in order. And let's not forget about the impact on our global standing. A nation drowning in debt is a nation that's vulnerable, both economically and politically. We need to act now, before it's too late. Section 10. Finding common ground, the need for bipartisan solutions to fiscal challenges. Here's a radical idea. What if, instead of yelling at each other about who's to blame, we actually tried to work together to fix this? I know, crazy, right? But hear me out. This isn't about Democrats versus Republicans. This is about ensuring a strong and prosperous future for all Americans. We need to find common ground, to compromise, to put aside our differences and focus on what unites us. Because if we don't, we'll all be left picking up the pieces of a broken economy. Section 11, a call to action, demanding fiscal responsibility from our leaders. This is a call to action, America. The next time you hear a politician make a promise, ask yourself, how are they going to pay for it? Demand specifics, demand accountability, hold their feet to the fire. Because this isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet, this is about our future, our children's future, and the future of our nation. Let's make sure we make the right choices before it's too late.